The grizzly explodes from the forest shadows, driving prey into impossible corners. Rivals hesitate. Here, only raw power rules. In a world where every move is life or death, the grizzly dominates with unmatched force. Witness the ferocity, the speed, the unstoppable might in deadliest grizzly bear attacks ever caught on camera. Every chase, every strike, every confrontation, this is nature at its most brutal and awe-inspiring. Brace yourself for the ultimate predators in action. Across the open plains, the bison moves like a living fortress. Power, endurance, and survival packed into one massive body. A full-grown bull can reach nearly 2,000 pounds, a walking reserve of energy, fat, muscle, and strength, capable of sustaining a predator through the harshest seasons. But in the wild, every reward carries a cost, and a bison is never just one target. It is part of a watchful, unified herd. From the margins, a grizzly lingers, silent, calculating, studying patterns, waiting for a moment when the herd slips out of sync. A calf strays too far. An older bison slows its pace. Fatigue creates a fracture in the herd's defense. When that moment arrives, the bear commits, charging in short, explosive bursts, aiming to overwhelm quickly, especially if the target is young. Yet, the plains do not tolerate silence for long. At the slightest disturbance, the herd reacts. A mother pivots instantly, no hesitation, lowering her horns, driving forward with force and precision to push the threat back. Now, the grizzly hesitates. Every second becomes a calculation, advance and risk injury, or retreat and survive. Because even a successful hunt can turn costly if the fight drags on. Here, survival is not about dominance, it's about balance. The grizzly is not just a hunter, but a regulator, removing the vulnerable, shaping the strength of the herd. And the grassland endures, not through conquest, but through equilibrium. In the far north, caribou emerge as living icons of endurance, creatures shaped by distance, driven by an instinct to keep moving no matter the cost. They surge across the tundra in vast, shifting herds, covering endless ground in search of life-sustaining forage. Built for motion, a full-grown caribou can reach speeds near 50 miles per hour, turning sheer distance into its greatest defense. Because of this, the polar bear rarely wastes energy on reckless pursuit. Instead, it studies, waits, and watches for weakness. Its focus narrows on the vulnerable, young calves or weary stragglers left behind by the strain of migration. Against prey that can weigh over half a ton, the bear does not rely on strength alone. It uses strategy. Carefully, it steers the target toward unforgiving terrain, often guiding it closer to icy water where escape becomes uncertain. Then, at the critical moment, it commits. A sudden burst of power closes the gap. One crushing strike from its massive forelimb is often enough to end the struggle within seconds. But as the seasons shift, so does the hunt. With summer comes opportunity. Shallow streams come alive with salmon, dense with energy, rich with survival. The bear moves to the water's edge, still as stone. Every ripple matters, every sound counts. Then, in perfect timing, it strikes. A precise motion, fast and controlled, secures the catch. Each salmon delivers vital fat and protein, fueling the bear for the long, demanding journey that still lies ahead. An adult elk is a reward few predators can resist, but for a grizzly, it's never a simple claim. Tipping the scales near 800 pounds, the elk moves with its herd, scanning constantly across wide, exposed valleys. It is powerful, vigilant, and built to survive sudden danger. Speed, sharp hearing, and explosive acceleration give it a narrow window to escape almost any threat. So the grizzly does not rush. It reads the land, tree lines, river banks, and rain-softened ground, waiting for the moment the terrain turns in its favor. That moment often comes at the water's edge. Cold streams and slick mud begin to steal the elk's advantage, slowing its stride and limiting sharp turns. Sensing the shift, the grizzly advances, quiet, controlled, closing the gap with purpose. It steers the elk toward confined ground, where hesitation lasts only a heartbeat, but costs everything. The encounter ends swiftly, without chaos, without waste, just raw efficiency shaped by instinct. Across the northern plains, dominance is never permanent. Survival moves in cycles, written by changing seasons and split-second choices. Here, every decision, hunter, or hunted keeps the balance intact, ensuring the story continues. In the far northern wilds, a towering silhouette moves through the silence. The moose, a colossal herbivore tipping the scales near 1,500 pounds. Its towering legs slice through deep snow and soggy marshland with surprising ease. Crowned with massive antlers, it commands respect during the rut. Yet even a giant like this lives with constant risk. As winter loosens its grip, tension quietly rises across the landscape. Months of brutal cold have drained the moose of strength. At the same time, a grizzly emerges from scarcity, driven, focused, and dangerously hungry. It reads the air with precision, catching faint scents carried by the wind, waiting for weakness to reveal itself. An exhausted adult, a limping survivor, or a vulnerable calf, any one of them can become the target. For the grizzly, power is only part of the strategy. Timing is everything. With calculated patience, it begins the approach, not rushing, guiding, pressuring, and steering. The terrain becomes the real weapon. Thick mud, shallow streams, unstable snow that drains every ounce of energy. Step by step, the moose slows. And in that single moment of hesitation, the predator closes the gap. The struggle stretches on, raw endurance against relentless force. Minutes feel longer here, until the outcome is decided. For the grizzly, survival is restored. Strength begins to return, but not every encounter ends this way. A mother moose stands her ground. She pivots sharply, placing herself between danger and her calf. Kicks striking with explosive force, each one a clear warning. Eventually, the bear disengages, not defeated, not fearful, but patient. Because in the wild, survival often belongs to the one willing to wait. Under the relentless glare of Arctic summer, The frozen ocean begins to break apart, opening scattered pools of dark water that pulse like living fractures in the ice. What looks calm from a distance is anything but. This is where survival is tested, along shallow river mouths. Groups of beluga whales, each weighing close to 1,500 pounds, move in tight formation. They rise and fall in careful sequence, surfacing for air in sync with the shifting, unpredictable tide. In this confined space, precision is everything. One wrong move can change the outcome instantly. From the edge of the ice, a polar bear arrives, silent, calculated, reading every movement like a seasoned hunter. Belugas can remain submerged for long stretches, but not forever. Eventually, they must return to the surface. Positioned against the wind to stay undetected, the bear lowers its center of gravity, channeling immense power through its forelimbs as it prepares. Then, subtle ripples break the surface. The response is immediate, a sudden strike, driven by force capable of delivering crushing pressure at the moment of impact. At the shifting boundary between ice and water, where tides can rise and fall by nearly 6 feet, the bear takes calculated risks, launching from unstable, slippery ground. But in deeper water, the advantage shifts. The beluga's speed can turn the encounter in an instant, forcing the bear to retreat and reassess. Each failed attempt is not wasted. It refines the hunter. Energy is preserved. Timing is studied. Because here, survival doesn't reward haste. It rewards precision. In one of the harshest environments on Earth, patience is not just a strategy. It is the difference between hunger and success. Grizzly bears typically live and roam alone, so when two cross paths, the atmosphere shifts instantly. A rich feeding ground, a surge of spawning salmon, or the pull of mating season can force them into uneasy proximity. In a world where survival hinges on energy, even a silent stare can carry the weight of a warning. Encounters like this rarely erupt without buildup. They unfold through controlled displays, a rise to full height, deep rumbling calls, deliberate sidesteps to claim ground, each move carefully measured to assert dominance. Size often dictates confidence. The larger bear commands presence, while the smaller may depend on agility and nerve. But in these moments, one wrong move is enough to shatter the balance and trigger a sudden, decisive clash. As breeding season intensifies, males become driven by scent trails and territorial cues. They track rivals across vast distances, applying relentless pressure until one yields and retreats from the contested ground. For a mother with cubs, survival demands caution over confrontation. She reroutes her path, keeps to thicker cover, and quietly steers her young away, because any direct encounter could turn fatal in seconds. In the wild, A clash between a grizzly and a wolf pack is less a fight, and more a test of strategy versus sheer dominance. Wolves work as a unit, exhausting themselves to bring prey down, but the grizzly plays a different game. It follows the scent, steps in with unstoppable force, and claims the reward as if it earned it. This behavior is known as food displacement, a silent power shift among top predators. The wolves don't give up easily. They circle, darting in with calculated strikes, snapping at the bear's flanks, testing its patience from every angle, but the grizzly stands its ground. Sometimes it just drops its full weight onto the carcass. A clear warning, this meal is no longer up for debate. When winter tightens its grip, survival becomes a brutal equation. Every calorie matters. For the puma, the stakes are even higher. A solitary hunter, it relies on stealth and precision. But when a grizzly arrives, strength outweighs skill, and the puma is often forced to walk away and start over. In rare but dangerous moments, a grizzly may wander too close to a puma's den. Faced with overwhelming power, the mother has only one choice: retreat and protect her young by disappearing into the wilderness. Each year, northern rivers erupt into motion as thousands of salmon surge upstream, turning quiet waters into a relentless current of life. For the grizzly, this brief season is more than opportunity. It is a test that will decide whether it survives the unforgiving winter ahead. It takes position where the river narrows and the current intensifies, at the foot of cascading falls where every fish is forced into a desperate leap. The bear becomes motionless, fully focused, reading the subtle shifts beneath the surface. Then, an instant. A salmon breaks free of the current, and the response is explosive. A calculated swipe or a perfectly timed catch mid-air. Each successful grab delivers a dense reward. Thousands of calories packed with vital fats and protein, fuel the bear cannot afford to miss. But precision is never guaranteed. Some lunges cut through empty water and some fish vanish back into the torrent. Still, there is no panic. The bear readjusts, recenters, and waits, calm, deliberate, conserving energy for the next surge. Because survival here is not about constant movement. It is about discipline, the right position, the right moment, and a single decisive strike. Across the wild landscapes of North America, the grizzly bear stands as a dominant force, silent, powerful, and deeply respected. Massive shoulders ripple beneath thick fur, built to endure harsh winters and unforgiving terrain. A full-grown adult can weigh nearly 800 pounds, a true heavyweight of the wilderness. And when it rises upright, it transforms, towering like a living wall, commanding everything in its path. The grizzly's menu is as adaptable as its environment, shifting with the seasons and opportunity. From tender grasses and sweet berries to nutrient-rich salmon and scavenged remains, nothing goes to waste. Every bite matters in a world where survival is never guaranteed. Despite its immense presence, it walks alone. crossing vast territories in solitude. Only when food is abundant, or during the brief window of mating season, do these giants tolerate the company of their own kind. If you love our videos, subscribe now and hit that bell, and there are more videos waiting for you right here on the screen. Just click the one that grabs your interest and enjoy. See you there.